I grew up hungry in a violent alcoholic home in Northeast LA, and school was my out. I was a good student. Third of 6 kids, so similar. I was kind of the mediator for everybody. Tried to be the perfect kid, so my dad would stop drinking and all that stuff. Not good boundaries in the house, so was very involved with church. My family, pretty religious, and I was adopted by the parish priest, who basically grew as an adolescent and then molested. Disconnected from that for most of my life. Went to Stanford. Was not at all focused. I was not dealing with my past, rage and all that. I dealt with it through sports. I dealt with it by killing people playing soccer. I dealt with it by being better than anybody else in the school that I went to. And then in college, I dealt with it by numbing, by partying, all this stuff. So I was disconnected from my own experience. And so in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about this. So this is a kind of a very male experience of being disconnected from our experience, being disconnected from our memories, being disconnected from our woundedness. And had some dramatic changes. Went to a seminary, decided to be a priest. Went to the jungles of Chiapas and reconnected with being Latino. And so there were a lot of disconnects that I was starting to reconnect. And started teaching. So most of my life I've been a teacher. When I went with my then fiance, now wife, to the same priest who abused me for his blessing, to ask him to marry us, which is a big disconnect. But I didn't know until that time. It was like there was just some bad dream. I had a lot of bad dreams. Something flashed, and I wanted to kill him. I don't know what it was. It could have been his cologne. Something triggered for me. I didn't know it was a trigger at the time. And we left, disinvited him from the wedding. He called my mom, because they were best friends. That's part of the grooming process. He didn't just groom me, he groomed the family, he groomed the whole community. He was a very prominent person in LA Archdiocese. And told her, I had disinvited him and he was heartbroken. Could she talk to me? And she called and said, what happened? I said, he molested me when I was little. That's all I knew. I didn't know any details. And she didn't say anything. And continued being friends with me. And that was basically the end of that relationship. And that was the end of that memory, really, because after the marriage, we had some trauma in our home. Someone broke in our apartment and beat up my wife. And all of a sudden, all the other, that molest stuff was way back. All I was about was now being protective and focusing on her trauma as well as dealing with some of the old stuff that I never dealt with. All the drinking, all the violence, all the poverty and the shame of growing up in that. And that went on. So I became a great teacher. I was a professor for several years. I used to teach teachers. So I got my doctorate and raised a family. And in 2002, with all the stuff in Boston, clergy abuse, something triggered. And I started to remember, and I started to get more and more memories, and it was impossible to put that all together. So that was in 2002. I figured I had a good background as a professional, doctor, stable, good family, and all that stuff. So I became real outspoken in the community, a group called SNAP, Survivors Network of Blues by Priests. I was just, had rage that I hadn't unleashed before. So I was spending a lot of time doing that, too much supporting other people before I was together myself. So the last several years, I've been in an incredible reintegration process and healing and learning and writing, and my background is teaching and research. So I put that into healing, not just child sexual abuse, but now trauma